Do you wish somebody wrote down the recipe for your parenting challenges? Did you want tips and tricks to become a better mama for you and your babies? I know I do. If you're a mother who feels that you are doing the best you can with the hands you've been dealt, but you're still getting it done, then this podcast is for you. I'm so glad you tuned in to Nailed It Motherhood, because we might have the recipe that nobody wrote down.
What's up, everybody? You're listening to Nailed It Motherhood podcast, and I'm your host with the most, Tamara Eldridge. Our guest today is a wild card. She's a real one, and she will surely make you laugh. But just as much as she has you in stitches, she loves hard. Mamas, aunties, glamas, and more. I welcome to the mic, Miss Ronnell Perry.
Oh, I feel like there should be some applause with that. I am so glad to be here. Thank you. That was a lovely introduction.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so happy that you're here sitting with me.
I'm so excited. I've never done a podcast before, so this is a first for me.
I'm so excited that I can be your first.
It's not, my age, there's not too many things you say first time doing something. So this is very exciting to see you set up and, organize and have the script and the questions. I'm just really excited for you for this.
Whatever do you mean your age? Is there a gap or something?
There's a smidgy gap, a small gap between me and you. I remember quite a few things that you have to see about in movies, like a cassette tape.
Okay, first of all,
you did not have a cassette tape player.
I did. I definitely did.
Okay. Yeah, I don't believe you. I'm going to need to see photographs of you as a child.
I'm the age where I had it all. I was the end, the middle, and the beginning.
Okay, I'm good. I just did a rap song that you did not know.
Okay, but that was because of my upbringing. That had nothing to do.
Okay, we're going to move on from that. I'm a smidgy older than her, but not a lot.
Okay, but just as a reminder, remember the Drop Dead Fred reference?
I remember the Drop Dead Fred reference.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, that's an insider. We're not going to actually talk about it because we are so far off script right now.
She likes to poke my age, people, that's all. But I love her because I get to give her history.
She does, and she does it very well. Very well. But I will say that I'm very happy that you are here today. I'm excited to have a conversation and for you to share your wisdom as a mom, because you know that I stress.
Yes.
You see me stress. You add to my stress.
Yes, I do. I'm sorry, I had said that a little too happy.
You did.
But I did. But I add to the stress that is happiness.
Okay. We can, okay.
That's what we'll lead on as we talk more about me. You'll understand why. The happiness.
So, the reason why Ronnell adds to my stress is because she absolutely adores my child. Absolutely adores my child. And I'm wondering if I want to share my Tavi tale or if I want to give you a chance to talk about her. But I feel like if I do give you a chance to talk about her, then I have to put a time limit on it.
Which is why I said, you talk about her, because this whole podcast will be about your baby girl.
Okay.
And I've only known her for only a year, and it's just she's so cute. She comes in and she's, hi, baby. Oh, what you have? Let's look. She's so wonderful.
Well,
because you're raising her very well.
Well, thank you.
Because I've met some children at that age, and you can tell they're not being raised. So she does. She asks questions. She doesn't overstep. She's never rude. She's never screaming. She doesn't whine and cry like, Miss Minute. None of that. So you're doing a wonderful job. And I can say that with pride.
I appreciate that. And, I feel like that became our Tavi tale. I'm going to talk about it because I know how much you like music.
Right. I like Tavi's. You just talk about her. I'm mad she's not here. I asked could she be here, and she said that's not the point.
Yeah, the point is that this is for mamas to talk about how we cope as parents and not necessarily have our kids sitting right beside us to record how we cope. It's kind of like therapy.
It's true.
Yeah, you don't take your children with you to therapy when you're trying to learn techniques to parent.
I'm a little different. My kid's a little older, so you still have the young kid phase. So mine's is older, but I had mine's with me no matter wherever I went, so.
Well, when we do our family therapy podcast, then she can come.
Yay! I'm smiling really hard about it.
Like really hard. We will make sure that you are a host on that one.
Next podcast. See how you can just come up with these ideas? I love it.
I love it too. Well, okay, so you love music. Absolutely love music. And Tavia loves music.
Yes.
I mean, my baby be singing hard. And it makes me super happy because I also really love music.
Yes.
I mean, it's a good thing that we're both on different ends of the hallway at work.
Well, my music and your music is too different. It's totally different.
But that is the point of this Toppy Tale.
Yes.
So we loved The Lion King when it came out. Tavia.
Which one?
The Lion King.
Oh, you have to narrow that down. There's been 3.
The original.
Okay, 1994.
You in these years.
You have to, first of all, you have to make it clear because they had the live one with the Beyonce and all that. I just wanted to be clear on which one you were referring to.
You will never, ever hear me talking about that.
Because if it wasn't the original, I was going to have to fix that for Tavia.
No. So, she doesn't care for it. I've tried to have her watch it. That's the only one I've ever tried to have her watch. Okay. But it's not her thing. She's more into magic and superheroes than she is into talking animals. And, well, with the exception of Sing 2.
Right. But maybe she needs to watch The Lion King with certain people.
Okay, well, then you go ahead and you bring her.
And I know
that is not a threat for you.
I know it's not. It's something I look forward to.
So we can open up our calendars after we're done recording.
Yes, and when your daughter comes home with multiple soundtracks from Lion King, do not get mad at me.
We don't need physical soundtracks anymore. We can just...
See, that's the difference between me and certain other parents. If you're going to do it, you have to do it all the way. That's Hakuna Matata.
It means no worries, right?
That's right.
Speaking of no worries, we're going to segue into no worries that you had. Now, this is kind of a heavier topic, but...
Being a mom is heavy, so...
Before we get into it, let me read your bio.
Sure thing.
Because I think we just got so focused on talking about Tavia that I never actually got to introduce the people to who you are.
You didn't, but that's because I get distracted when you mention your daughter.
I know. You just love that baby.
I do. Even at work. They'd be like, why aren't you working? Your daughter's here.
I know. Oh, yeah.
It's Tavia.
It's Tavia. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and read Ronnell Perry's bio, and then we're going to give her the floor and let her talk her personal story, her herstory segment. And then I'm going to have some questions for her as she shares her story. Born and raised in the Hill District of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, shout out to the project's Robinson Courts, which is now gone. Ronnell Perry is a single mom of 1 daughter and a sister to 1 older brother. She lived with mom, grandma, and brother. Ronnell is a proud product of PPS, all the way from Madison to Schiller to Brashear, and she is currently employed by the institution that educated her. Ronnell discreetly became a single mom her senior year of high school, but that did not deter her from pursuing her goals, where she moved on to attend CCAC, which led to working in various daycares and child care facilities. CCAC led to working early childhood in Carlo, but a desire for a higher... We're going to do that one more time. I got this.
Go right ahead and do that
Thank
one
you
more
so
time.
much.
I love hearing about me. You don't hear that very often. Go right ahead. I feel like someone's writing my autobiography right now.
Oh, okay.
Get it, girl.
I got it, girl.
I feel like this is Oprah. This is the summer reading book list. I'm sorry. She knows I get distracted.
She said summer reading book list.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just one more.
Listen, you want this book ready for next summer.
It's just one more sentence.
Go right
ahead. Yes, okay.
Start back over.
Okay. CCAC led to working early childhood in Carlo, but a desire for a higher pay scale led her to PPS for the past 17 years. Again, ladies and gentlemen, parents, aunties, grandmas, I welcome Ronnell Perry. So, Ronnell.
Yes.
One of the things that stuck out the most during your bio is the discretion of your pregnancy your senior year in high school.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I wasn't one to always be hanging out, and people didn't know I was hanging out with my friend. And I was on birth control. So, of course, when you're 16, 17, nothing's going to happen to you because I took care of that. And then all of a sudden you're like, I need to go get checked out or something. And then he said, guess what? And I was like, what? You're pregnant. Who? Not me. I take birth control. Take it every single day. He said, well, that 1% is you. And it's funny because when I was living at Robinson Court, we went to Matilda Theis, which was a neighborhood health center. Like, you didn't go to McGee, you didn't go to hospital, you went down to Matilda Theis. So everybody at Matilda Theis has known me from the age of 5. So when I roll in at 16, everybody's giving me that, like, when you telling your mama? When you telling your mama? So I wasn't, like, he wasn't my boyfriend. It was just me and him. And then he left something behind. I didn't show until probably about my 7th month. So the whole entire time I'm going to school, nobody knows because I don't look it. I'm not sick. I didn't blow up. There was nothing different about me until about, I want to say, May of 94, because she came in July. So about May of 94, I'm in school and shoes aren't tied, jacket ain't buttoned up. And as I'm walking down the hallway, everyone is saying, Ronnell? Yeah. Ronnell? Yes. Ronnell, that's a baby? And I was like, you didn't know? Yes, I'm having a baby. And at that time in the 90s, we had a daycare in Brashear. So it wasn't unusual for someone to have a baby as a teenage person. So I wasn't shunned at school. My teachers, and if I wanted to eat, I ate. I needed to go to the bathroom. I mean, they weren't encouraging, but they weren't a judgmental. That was for my mother. But the staff, no. I mean, nobody knew. And I was big as a house by the time June got here. So there was no not hiding anything. I was a big yellow circle. Or back in the day, there was a show called Roly Poly Oly.
Oh, dear God.
Tam probably doesn't know who that is.
I do.
That's who I looked like. I had a round face, a round belly, and I slid everywhere. But it was okay because everybody fed me. It was a bag of Doritos and a pizza.
Oh, that was really
with an orange. With an orange. I ate apples and cheese. My teachers were very good. But I mean, nobody really knew. I wasn't something that, you went around and you just told everybody. I wasn't trying to have a baby shower, or my family wasn't trying to celebrate it.
Right.
So it wasn't like, let's make a party and let's have all this other things. It was just, what are you going to do right now? And I was like, I'm going to have a baby.
So what thoughts actually went through your head as a teenager when you found out? He said, you're the 1%. You knew that there were precautions that you had to take and you were taking them. Did you feel like this was something that you wanted to celebrate for yourself?
It didn't really hit me until she started moving. I mean, those first 3-4 months, it just was, you taking a vitamin, you taking care of yourself. And like I said, I wasn't sick. So I didn't have like all those, like I wasn't sick all the time or doing all these weird things. My skin didn't get weird or something like that. So it wasn't until practically my belly was moving in the bathtub that I was like, oh, there's somebody really there.
Yeah.
And then you really start thinking, what am I going to do? And like I said, I still was going to high school. So it wasn't like I needed to figure out, like my mom wasn't putting me out. I wasn't one of those terrible cases where someone's just totally angry at that person and, you got to go figure something out. I mean, I had somewhere to live. I had food to eat and I was taken care of. He went to the service. So for a time, in a small amount of time, I thought about going with him. I changed my mind. I don't like to travel. And at the time, he was going to be, I think, all the way in California. Oh, yeah, and I was like, I'm going to be in California while you're doing whatever. And my support system, who is my mother, my grandmother, my aunt, is all here in Pittsburgh. That just didn't equate to me to leave them. So I stayed at home and try to figure out what I was going to do raising my kid. So I didn't feel totally alone, but I was alone. And I want to say I took her to the daycare when we went back to school. I took her to the daycare at Berkshire for maybe about that first 4 or 5 months. But see, I remember at the time in the 90s, there was a lot of people having babies as teenagers. So they were trying to make us be parents. We were going to do this and we were going to do that. We were going to go here. We're going to go on field trips. And my grandmother was old school. Like, we not taking no 4-month-old to the Phipps Conservatory. She was like, that don't make sense. So my grandmother instructed me to take her out of there. My grandmother ended up watching my baby until I graduated high school.
So what do you think has changed as far as teen pregnancy from the 90s to now?
Or
do you think that it's still the same? You didn't feel shame.
No, and I think there is still a lot of shame, but I want to say there are way more programs. So I want to say maybe at the time when I had my daughter, I think there was just like the WIC program. And that was about it. If I wanted to have a group or a parenting group, it was the ones that was at the high school. Now there are parenting groups for different age groups that I would say in the 90s, there wasn't that many because like I said, teen pregnancy was, as they called it was an epidemic. Everybody was having a baby. So it was try to be a way to prevent it. And I want to say now there's way more assistance programs, help groups out there for teenagers to get help, to get assistance if they are alone, if they need that assistance. I want to say that's the biggest thing. There's way more programs for help than just family.
Do you feel like family is still as involved?
I think family is way more involved now because I want to say grandmas are younger, but I can't say that because I have to think about my mom wasn't that old when I made her a grandma. My mother wasn't 50 yet either. So I just think times have changed, that grandparents and generations have changed. Mm-hmm. So I want to say my mom, there were certain things that you didn't do or we didn't do this. Back in the day, you put whiskey on the baby's gums, right? Oh, don't tell nobody to do that now. Oh, that's so bad. So I just feel like it's just a different generation. And now it's just how people have grown up. Right. So for me, I grew up in a very close-knit neighborhood at Robinson Court where everybody knew their neighbors. Not to say that we might have spoke to all the neighbors, but you knew who lived on the 3rd floor. You knew who lived on the 2nd floor. You knew who lived the 1st floor. You knew their names. You knew who their kids were. So I feel like that isn't so much of a community anymore at your home. And now you have to go find your community. You have to find your group in these support groups now.
Right. When you said the word that I was hearing as you were talking, community. It was real big on community then, and you have carried that. if you know Ronnell, you know that you try to create a community. You know everybody. Everybody knows who you are.
And that's probably because I raised half their children in daycare. That's probably the biggest thing. Because I'm still in communication with quite a few of my parents of kids. And I mean, when I say kids, I mean, I had them as 8-month-olds. And I know like 2 right now, one's playing college football, doing really well. Another one's in college and he's playing violin. So I'm still in communications with a lot of my kids. That's one of the things that drew me to early childhood was the fact that I was a teen mom. And I needed to learn things. And of course, at that time, because I was a kid, other adults didn't think I knew how to take care of a kid. So I felt like I needed to educate myself about certain things that people were telling me to do. I just needed to know it for myself, which led to me going to CCAC for Child and Family Studies, because I felt like, well, I'm living it. My mouth will work it.
You never got tired of it? You never felt like you needed to separate the two?
No, not at all. Well, because I didn't feel like to separate it because it worked out for me. So when I started working in daycares, I was able to put my daughter in those daycares. So that means I knew the daycare people. I knew the person that was running the facility. So it wasn't like, just dropping my kid off and leaving them. And that's why I said it led me to childcare, because I understand that dropping your kid off and having somebody else care for your kid. And that's a lot. That's a lot of stress on top of it, because you have to trust somebody else to do the things that you're not able to do at that time because you got to go to work.
Right. And it definitely can be hard. I've had a couple different experiences where you just don't know. And I've even had an experience where I had to shift out of one place and put her quickly into another place, and you were there for that, where she had cut her hand. And I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not going to bash anybody or anybody's business, because that's not what I'm about or this podcast will be about. But it definitely made me second guess knowing who I was dealing with before saying, yes, please take care of my child. Like, people will always try to make themselves look good, especially whenever they want your money.
Yes, they will. So, but that was one of the things that I always strive for when I worked with kids, is to let parents know that I have your kid. So your kid is my kid and it wasn't what is it now in daycare? Like, you'd only have them for like 7 hours. I worked in daycare where I used to have kids for almost 10 hours.
Well, legally it's 10.
Legally it's 10, but I would have them for 10 hours. So to leave your kid for 10 solid hours and someone else is feeding them, bathing them, nurturing them, teaching them, loving on them, you have to have a certain relationship. And I feel like that's one of the main reasons why I went into early childhood when I was such a young parent, is because I wanted other parents to have that security that when they left, their kid was safe. So I can give you a prime example real quick. When 9/11 happened, I was actually working in a daycare in downtown Pittsburgh.
Wow.
That's one of the things I say with generations is different. There's a whole generation that doesn't even understand that anxiety. And at the time, it was parents calling me on my cell phone because they had my cell phone number. Because I would call parents when they didn't bring their kid a lunch. I called them at work on my cell phone. So we had that close connection. And it was to the point, like, when we had to evacuate downtown Pittsburgh, I literally took 6 kids home with me.
Wow.
There was no question to my parents about the safety of their kids. They're going home with me. Here's my address. Meet me there. We're out. So I think my parents, and that's why I think I'm still in communication with most of my parents, is because they knew it wasn't a facade. I wasn't fake about it. It wasn't, I'm just working here. They knew I loved their kid. I cared and nurtured for their kids because I wanted to, and they needed it. Like, I make a little joke too, is because most of the kids that I took care of were Caucasian. So I tease some of my parents now to this day saying, the black girlfriend, I'm the reason why. Because I had them for 2-3 years. And I'm probably the only face they saw on a regular basis that was not white. So I do. I tease my 1-2 parents because they,
Especially in Pittsburgh.
especially in Pittsburgh. And like I said, I was in downtown Pittsburgh. So the majority of the staff were all Black women, and the majority of the children were of other races. And not, I mean, we had a lot of Black kids, but you have to remember, you have to think, I used to think about that too. I am probably the only face of a brown that these kids have ever seen, will see, and on that such an intimate level. You know, it isn't just, you know, over their house, in and out. I mean, I was their caretaker. I'm cooking for them. I'm cleaning. I'm changing. I'm reading stories. We're laying down, taking naps. I mean, I used to have some of my kids. This is downtown when they had more stores. We would go out to lunch. I'd take my 1 and 2-year-olds. They didn't like the lunch their parents brought me. We went to go eat at Pepe's. We went to go have an Italian hoagie and some French fries. My parents be like, "Oh, Ronnell, you don't have to do that. Your baby was hungry. They didn't want your shepherd's pie. We're going to go eat." So that's why I think that's one of the reasons, like when you bring Tavia over, that's just my nature, is to, what do you need to do? What are we going to do? What do you need? Oh, mommy didn't do that? Let's go see if I have it. I used to tell my parents there are 3 important people to your children's life: grandparents, godparents, and their daycare workers.
That's real.
That's the truth.
very real.
It's the truth.
Listening to that aspect of it, I never realized that dynamic of your story, that you were in an area where you were dealing with a whole bunch of white kids. I didn't realize that. That makes me question a lot of things. Did you ever feel like the help?
My personality doesn't allow me to feel like the help.
Bet.
For me personally. No, I'm very straightforward. When you introduce yourself to parents and you get to introduce yourself to the kids, that is them getting to know you, right, and the limits and how you are to treat me. I do have an example to where I met a child. Mother was Irish. Father was Mexican, but his father was white, so he was very pale. And I could tell that their son had never, ever been around anybody else that wasn't white. Mm-hmm. Because when he would come into the room, of course, kids cry when their parents leave. Their parents didn't even drop him off yet. But because it was me and another Black woman, and I think at the time, I only had 2 other kids that were white, he cried constantly. And it took me maybe about a month to really piece it together of what was going on. So that's when you have to think about, what can I do for this parent to help them, to help me, to help the kid?
Right.
You know, it's like you need to be having some books at home that have some people on it that are not just white.
Right.
You need to actually walk around downtown Pittsburgh so they see there are other people, not just you guys. And I mean, he was the only child, and it took him about a solid year just to maybe even hug me. Because it was just the fact it's a cultural shock. And I think now these days we don't have that as much because everything is all about inclusive. So I don't think we have that as much. But at the time, that was strange to me that he never saw somebody. Because like I said, it took me a month to realize, why is he only crying? Like, no, I smell good. No, I'm okay. I don't have nothing weird on.
And that just wasn't normal for you.
No, I mean, because it wasn't like he was just crying because mom and dad left, or, you know, somebody did something to me. It was as soon as he came in the door and he saw who was around that the tears would come. And it, like I said, it took me a month to figure it out. And I really had to sit his parents down and I had to explain it to them because they couldn't get it either. And I had to ask them, do you have any people around that are of my color? And, you know, at first they were offended. And I said, but I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. It can't be just me personally. He doesn't know me yet. It can't be just you're leaving. It's something more. It's something of, I don't know what that is because I've never seen it before. Right. And I said, and we have to get him used to seeing me before. Because I think at the time he was only coming part-time. And I think I had asked them to pay for him to come 5 days a week, or this is going to make it harder and harder because he's not here enough. And eventually he became my favorite. But that's the magic of me. Ask Tavia.
That's real. It is real. But I like the way that this conversation actually is going, because although it is not necessarily about your parenting with your daughter, it still is parenting, and it still is very strong advice for other parents. The inclusivity. Ooh, how you say it, girl?
Inclusivity.
Thank you. Inclusivity. Inclusivity is very prevalent now.
Yes.
In 2023, but racism and fear of other people still exists.
It's prominent, especially if you don't give your kids that exposure.
Right.
And like I said, in the early 2000s, that wasn't a topic about exposure. You just took your baby to a daycare and paid the bill and said, here's my kid. And that's what it is. And it was everything that we had to do inside to see what we needed to do. Because that was me learning 10 different parents' parenting skills.
Right.
This parent didn't do this. This parent didn't like that. We can't do this. We can't. So it was all about trying to learn certain things to make a whole entire room full of kids entertained and happy at the same time. And then when their parents leave, they're not leaving with an attitude.
Right.
And then me too, still trying to go pick up my kid that was probably upstairs in the daycare when it was time for me to go.
Right. Oof. Yeah. Balance.
Balance.
Yeah. How much change did you create? And this is rhetorical, but like just that story alone, you shifted the mindset of those parents. How many years ago?
We're not going to say how many.
We're not.
But it was a few. I think that was something that after that happened, I was much more cautious because that was one daycare I went to. And then I went to another one that was a little smaller. And the smaller one I went to, I want to say all my kids were white. Maybe I had maybe one. And at the time, I was just taking care of the 2-year-olds. I want to say every single one of them, and I had 10, they were all white. So I was the only Black person they literally saw 5 days a week out of the whole year. But I feel like that's something that I did for them because, we see things where kids say, they see a Black person, they get scared. I feel like I might have broke that.
Yeah, bridging the gap.
Right, because I was their caretaker. I was their security. I was their playful one. So I became everything that they needed for me to be. Didn't hone in that, the Black girl was doing it. But to me, I knew that. I knew that was something that was going to be important down the line because if you see me, you're going to see me somewhere else.
Right.
And maybe personally, not me, but a Black woman, they might run to them because they're comfortable because they were with me so long.
And it's unfortunate that we have to think like that. Like we are representatives for each other, but we are.
We are. We were not, but we are.
Yeah. In a sense, we are. And it's a lot of responsibility sometimes, but
it is. And I think that's one of the reasons why I try to be so very straightforward about things. If it's taking care of your kid, if it's taking care of my kid, can't beat around the bush.
Right.
We have to be very straightforward about your expectations. Because sometimes some people's expectations are a little high.
Right.
And you got to bring it down. Bring it down. Like I said, working in daycare. Even for me, when my daughter was going to daycare, I didn't let her go to kindergarten until she turned 6 years old because I didn't think she was ready. But then when I finally sent her to school, I was like, kindergarten is not what I was doing in kindergarten. Like she had to be kindergarten ready. And I thought that was just a slogan. And I didn't realize it meant, no, she's supposed to already be writing her name and writing her address. And I'm thinking, no, that's why I'm sending her to school. So you can hone those skills of the pre-K writing our name to hone that skill. And I was like, you want me to, that was a little culture shock for me too. And like I said, that's generations. Because this generation, they're probably a little bit more ready than I was with my daughter.
Going back to the balance, because you said, you're working downstairs with the early childhood and then you would go upstairs and pick up your daughter and become mom again. like parenting downstairs and then going back upstairs to parent. Girl, I need the break, okay? That's why I don't like bringing Tavia to work with me. I know everybody loves her and everybody's like, we can help, but yeah.
That's why when she comes in my room and I close the door.
And thank God for you. Praise the Lord. But the question is, how grateful were you for the skills that you had in the field that you were in? And how did they actually work while you were parenting your child?
Because see, at the time too, I was also going to CCAC. So I was taking all these courses about kids and how they learn. So everything for me was a big circle. So what I learned at school, I take to daycare and I take home. And when I was going to school, you had to create a lesson plan for class. And then I worked in daycare. They wanted you to create a lesson plan for the class. So everything I was doing kind of all went in a full circle. So what I did in school, I could bring to work and I could bring home. And I made that a conscious decision to do that because at the time, like I said, I was a single mom. So I needed everything to be in one big circle. So I'm not trying to, school's over here, work's over there, home life is something else. So for me, that's one of the reasons why I went in that field, so I could learn, be a better parent. And this is a job that I can do. And I'm actually really good at nurturing people.
You are. You're very good at it. If you could choose another field, would you have? And what would it be?
No, I wouldn't. I would never see myself, like doing engineering I'm hands-on, but I love working with kids. And this was even before I became a teen parent. I used to work in like I said, my high school had a daycare, so I'd go in there and help out and do things. I've always loved kids. And then when I realized, you can go to school for this? Like, not just be a teacher in a classroom to do English or math. No, you can go to school and be with babies. Say less. Oh, that's awesome. And I think that's one of my best times. Tam teased me now for when I pull out certain decorations for certain holidays. And I tell her, you know where I got that from? That thing's 23 years old. I got that from a parent. They bought it for me when I worked in daycare. And it brings me joy because those are good memories that I have of nurturing kids. I had a kid that his mom was going to take him to a speech therapist. And I said, have you met me? Why would you take your baby to a speech therapist? I talk every day. And what was his first word? Can you guess, Tam?
Ronnell.
Oh, she knows me oh so well.
Is it really?
It was Woo now. It was Woo now. It was Woo now. Because he wouldn't enunciate his words. And I say, first of all, he's only 2. That's not a problem. But his mom was one of those moms. No, Ron, she was a single mom and he was twin. So the other twin was talking more than he was. No, we're going to go get a speech therapist. I said, give me 2 months. In 2 months, what was he doing? That's Woo now. Yes, that is. So I get a kick out of that. I get a kick of seeing joy from the kids to their parents. That's what I do.
Well, I want to thank you. I know the conversation has changed a little bit from what our plan was, but I'm very happy with the way it went, and I'll give you an opportunity to give a snippet of what you wanted to talk about, and we'll have to bring you on again. Apparently, that is the theme. We're bringing our guests back.
That was my ulterior motive.
Oh.
Because this is fun. I like this. I wrote notes and everything for this. I love it.
She did write notes.
In my happy planner.
Did we follow any of the notes?
Yeah, we did. Okay. Well, there were some things we didn't go through, but
fine.
We don't have to talk about that.
That's cool.
I got my other part here we didn't get, but
guess what? I can do as many episodes as I need to do. It is all good, okay? But in the meantime, it is time for tea time. Tea time. I do my own sound effects.
And it's wonderful.
Thank you so much. So, It is a game of rapid fire. I have come up with a bunch of questions. I have already shared them with Ronnell, so she does know what the questions are, but she has no idea which questions she will be answering. And now, some of them are deep. Some of them are just for fun. Some of them she does not like. She will be okay. She will have 3 minutes to answer as many questions as she can and give us just a little insight into who she is. So, listeners, are you ready? Yeah. Ronnell, are you ready?
I think so. And okay, I'm afraid you didn't change these questions. Now you didn't say, and you didn't change them.
I didn't change a thing.
Okay.
All right, let's get started. First question, what does family mean to you?
Family means ones that love you, care for you, and nurture you.
Good answer.
And they do not have to be blood related.
Amen. How do you want to be remembered?
Oh, wow. As someone that was caring, I think that's important. A caring person.
What's one thing you want to hear as a mom?
I'm the greatest.
You said that a little too hard.
That's for all the moms out there that want to say it too. I'm the greatest.
But I do too. So yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Introvert or extrovert?
I can be both. Depends on the setting.
At what age did you decide you wanted to become a mom, if at all?
Well, biology decided for me. So I didn't decide, my body did at 17.
What is something you can't give up?
A handbag. I'm buying me a new handbag every year. I'm sorry, I know it ain't about mommies, but people say I have an issue about, I have an issue about bags. I love a good bag. I'm not giving up purchasing a bag. And that's the honest to goodness truth. Must be one of those questions I don't like.
Who is your biggest fan?
Who is my biggest fan? Me. And Tam knows that very well. I'll toot my own horn. Toot, toot. She should know I have a picture of me on my own door that's 7 years old from when I was an advertisement.
Name one of your favorite moments with your kid. Just one.
My favorite moment would have been, I love taking my kid to the Carnegie Museum in Oakland. I love taking her there to see all the history and everything.
What emoji do you use the most?
I'm going to say laughing, the LOL. It's a family show.
Preference, airplane or train?
Oh, this is the question I did not like. Neither. I'm not going nowhere.
Did you meet your own requirement for how many children you would have?
I did. One and done.
Amen and amen.
One and done. I had a dream about a boy, but that's it.
We still good. 8 seconds.
Is the glass half full or half empty?
Half full. Half full.
Well, perfect timing. That is our time. Ronnell, I had a ball.
I'm glad. I was a little nervous in the beginning. I thought maybe I wasn't going to talk enough because I talk pretty fast. And I was like, I don't want to mess this up for Tim. But now that I know we can do this again, part 2, I'll be more, prepared.
So why don't you share quickly the topic that you wanted to share on the Motherhood podcast? Just the topic.
I didn't have just a topic.
No, what did you tell me in the hallway?
Oh, that topic, because that's not what we're talking about. Oh, because when you first asked me what I was going to discuss, and I said, I'm going to discuss what's happening to me right now in my life. It's called perimenopause. I don't usually like to use the word perimenopause because that's my last name. I just go with the menopause. I'm in that stage of life now that I don't have to worry about making children. But now it's making me have other things go wrong. Night sweats, insomnia, like being a parent all over again. But it's just about me.
Well, you like that, so.
Not the night sweats. You have that night sweat when your kid gets in the bed with you and they got their leg wrapped around your neck and the hand is over your nose and you're like, why can't I breathe? That's me by myself. But you said that'll be a conversation for another podcast. And I said, that's wonderful. We'll be like Oprah and have those conversations. Because that's where I'm at in my stage in my life.
My girl.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. But that's because your baby's so young now and you're not thinking about that because you still picking up little, Minnie Mouse underwear.
Oh my God.
And
lots of them.
Right. So now I'm just like.
And I don't want to embarrass her, so I'm not going to say my next thought, but
I don't think she's going to listen to this.
No, she does. She listens to it with me and she loves it.
Oh, she's going to listen to my episode.
This part is not about her. This part is about me thanking you.
And I appreciate, listen, your baby is a thank you.
Okay, but thank you, Ronnell.
You're welcome.
Because I appreciate all the wisdom that you bring to the table, not just this table that we're sitting at, but the table called life. That was really deep, I know. But no, seriously, you have a lot of wisdom.
And I appreciate that.
And you just love to share it. And I do believe that you share it when it's appropriate to share. And it's authentic and it's sincere. And I value it if nobody else does. And I do believe that the people that are listening, at least the people that I know that are listening, are very similar to me. And they will love listening to this episode. So I want to say thank you for being a guest.
Well, thank you for asking me to be a guest. I was very excited.
Yeah.
Even though my mother was nervous for you.
Well, your mama can be proud.
Listen, she gonna listen to this podcast.
She gonna listen to this podcast.
I don't log her on to any other podcast.
But I'm going to log on to
She
this
can't
one.
listen to it with your phone. She has to listen to it on, because those downloads do count, okay?
It better count.
Okay.
Okay. Now, at this time, I want to give you the floor to share any words of wisdom that you want to give to moms who may be listening, moms who feel like they might need that little glimpse of hope because they just are overwhelmed or whatever the case is. The floor is yours. You have about 5 seconds. I'm just kidding.
But the floor
I was
is
going to say, I can say that real fast.
to share.
I would just say to parents out there, even if it's a single parent, you're a couple, throuple, whatever kind of setup you have, please don't be afraid to seek help. Please don't be afraid or ashamed to ask for help, because I'm sure there's somebody out there that will help you. And if not, there's programs out there to get help. It's just about doing the research to figure it out, but never feel like asking for help with your kid is shameful. Never feel like asking for help is like, oh my goodness. Everybody needs help.
Real talk.
Everybody, young, old, no matter what. So I think that's the biggest thing I would make sure to tell people is, even though you feel like you're alone, and sometimes maybe you feel like you're doing it all alone, you're not. There's somebody out there that will help you.
Thank you. Get you a Ronnell in your life, okay?
I'm only the one. You can't all have me.
No, you can't have her. There, a lot of people have her.
Yes.
She is overextended, but get you a Ronnell.
That's
not
right.
the Ronnell.
Get you a Ronnell, the advocate.
Yes.
For whatever it may be, like extra toys for Tavia.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I went there, y'all. She'll edit it out. Don't worry.
No, I won't, because this is evidence.
She told me not to buy her baby stuff when I go to Dollar Tree. I just want to put that out there for the public. She told me I did not need to buy her baby stuff from Dollar. I said, it's $1.25. If I see Spider-Gwen and it's $1.25, I'm picking it up. I don't got no kids at home. It's just me. I'm buying her a Spider-Gwen. I didn't, though. I was listening to the mother. But Christmas is coming. New Year's is coming.
So there you have it. My last question's for you. Before you go.
She want to know if I'm in debt from buying stuff right now. Yes.
Is parenting challenging?
Yes, it is challenging.
But are you still standing?
At times. And sometimes parents fake it. The fake standing. There's those moments too.
That's really real. So what do you have that you can proudly shout to our listeners today?
This mama is nailing it.
Nailing it.
I wanted to do 2 snaps, but she told me not to make sounds.
You can snap.
Nailing it. That's how old I am. We still doing 2 finger snaps.
I feel like we can do a t-shirt.
Ooh, yes, marketing. If she just would get that Cricut machine I've been telling her to get. We can have cup koozies. You're nailing it.
So listeners, if you would like to follow Ronnell, you can find her on Facebook at rmperry77 and Instagram, same name, rmperry77. Or you can find her on these streets of Pittsburgh.
At PPS.
At PPS, yes. But also, if you'd like, we will be sharing her links in the comments so folks can find her. If you like this episode and you want to hear more personal parenting stories, subscribe to my social media, Nailed It Motherhood Podcast, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. You can also be a guest on the podcast by completing a guest application. The link is in the bio. We welcome your questions, comments, and ideas every time. And we certainly hope to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep on doing what it is that you do. Bye.
Bye. This was fun.